Horizon. If you're dead center in the circle, it could be right above you, so heads up. Jay Kuradijan, thank you very much for the chat. Awesome. Says thank you, this is awesome. Well, we think you're awesome too. Jason Russo, happy Mother's Day to Jill Russo. David Moore, happy Mother's Day to Andrea Moore and Kim Stanley. Happy Mother's Day. People asking, are we safe? So we don't know yet. We don't know whether this thing has re-entered already or not. So we're trying to figure that out. So Sandria Lacewell, thanks for the chat. If it hits the ocean, will it cause a tsunami or spike in earthquakes? The answer is no. And that's the good news, is that this thing, is 22 tons roughly, 100 feet long, 16 feet across, big object, but not big enough to cause any kind of tsunami or earthquake. It's only really a hazard if it happens to land right on you, right? But the odds of that are very, very small. You're much more likely to, trip down the stairs or something, or fall just moving around and suffer an injury than to get injured by this thing. Clarky's Weather and Stuff, thanks for another donation. I honestly think it may land close to or on Australia. So that was his message. So who knows? If we don't know yet whether it has entered or not. So far we're not seeing any videos on social media or anything. So it may still be up there. We're keeping a close eye on it. Just checking the latest feeds here, see if there's anything new. Not as of right now. Sky, thank you for the donation. Oh, hey, Destiny, ha, 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 ha. So hi, Destiny. Bend over. Altitude is dropping, probably gonna drop in the Indian Ocean. Thanks to Ben. We know what's going on there. TFFF-MSS, happy Mother's Day to Nana from Jackson. So happy Mother's Day to Nana from Jackson. Isn't it great in the age of technology? You can get anybody to say anything. Chris Orr, thank you very much for the $25. How fast is it going? For perspective, how long from land to New York to LA? So don't have a calculator handy, but it's, if it is still in orbit, it's moving north of 17,000 miles an hour. So that is a very, very quick trip, no matter how you look at that. Heiser, thank you very much. Greetings from Germany. Great stream. Thanks a lot. I've seen nothing in South Germany yet. So thank you for the data point there. So nobody saw anything in South Germany, at least. Aiden Charming, thank you for the money. $5. What's Earth's reentry height where the rocket would start burning up? 100 kilometers. Yeah, 100 kilometers, roughly the 50-mile range is about where that starts to happen. It can actually happen a little bit at higher altitude than that, but that's where the drag really starts to, to kind of increase, like crazy. Abigail Vipperman, thank you for that chat. This is real helpful. Thanks to Snapchat map, it just passed over Israel according to recent snaps within 5 minutes. So yeah, that's right on with what we were talking about there. And I'm curious, Abigail, if that was, if it was burning up in Israel, or if it was just visible, as a satellite still. Real curious to hear on that. So at least as of Israel, likely was still up and up moving still. So Aiden Charming, thank you for the $5. What's Earth's reentry height? Okay, so we just talked about that. Dave Winefield, welcome to Cabin Crew. Appreciate it. So yeah, at least it was up still over Israel. So once again, a large amount of uncertainty in these estimates for when this thing is going to come down. We knew this was the center of the estimate, but the estimate was plus or minus an hour. So this thing could very well still be up there waiting to have its moment. David My Grills, footage and images of it flying over Middle East via Twitter thread from DJ SNM. So thank you very much for that update. So it's still flying from the look on social media as it was passing over the Middle East. So it's likely still in orbit seems to be pretty good. Ready for launch. Thanks for the $10. Thanks for doing this. What goes into estimating when and where it comes down. So there are space surveillance radars usually operating by the US military and other sources. This information gets fed into a variety of private companies that have their own algorithms for trying to estimate when this stuff comes down. But there's still a wide amount of uncertainty, plus or minus an hour or more, even this close to it. And so, we're still on the seat of our chairs over here too. Aiden, thanks for the money. Happy Mother's Day to Iris Sager. Happy Mother's Day to Iris Sager. Says, scream it. She's watching the stream. So thank you very much. Mother's Day to Iris. K Elon. Happy Mother's Day to Metacarpal. Thank you for the super chat. Masha Sharoki. People are saying they saw it over Jordan. Okay, another great piece of information. Thank you for the chat as well. This is the great part about social media is that we are having updates literally coming in just minutes old, saying this thing is still in orbit. So we are waiting with every moment in time. The odds that it re-enters increases. Abigail Vipperman, thank you very much. Says, from what I can tell, it was all in one piece and very high up. Okay, so that was the Israel report. And so as of that point, it was still very much intact. So at least as of, seems like Israel and the Middle East, there was no reentry. Will Richardson, shout out to Laura McDougall. So shout out to you, Laura. Thank you for the chat. So very cool. So we do have updates from the pass over the Middle East that was still in orbit, still in one piece, no fireballs yet. So it's now entering out over the Indian Ocean. We'll see if it makes it. Will be interesting to see if when it's sort of revisualized either from people in Sri Lanka or southern India, if anybody sees it there. Eric Griffin says, doggy coin though, Dogecoin. So thank you for the chat, Eric. Vicky, thanks for the chat. I'm in Western Australia. If it does happen to make it close to us, we'll be able to see it in daylight. So you will not see it if it is not re-entering, but if it is re-entering, you could most likely see daytime fireballs. So yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for us. So it won't be as obvious, right, if it's during the day, but it still would likely be bright enough to see. So yeah, really looking forward to those updates. Somebody asking, is it a hoax? Definitely not a hoax. People are seeing it. Andy Fry, Kratos812, thanks for the feed. Can you give Tacey Fry a shout out for being a great dog mom? So Tacey, thanks for being a great dog mom and happy Mother's Day. Glasswell Candle Company, thank you very much for the $5. William Schulberg, happy birthday to Dad. Andy Fry, already did your comment. And apologies if I missed any of these. Michael Smith, thank you very much. They're coming in pretty fast, and I'm kind of going between different feeds here. We're looking to see if we have any data, anything new here. But at least as of the Middle East, it will still in orbit in one piece. We have it from multiple sources coming in. And it looks like people seeing some stuff on Twitter. Yeah, still one piece. It's fairly bright, I think, because it's such a low altitude now. So people are kind of crowdsourcing the visualization of this thing. So very, very cool. It's where social media can be really awesome. 333 Purple Dog. I'm in Perth, next landfall, but it is cloudy. Bummer. Almost where Skylab landed in 1979. I survived that. Getting excited. Exciting. And yeah, Skylab was what I was talking about a couple hours ago on the stream, where did a reentry mostly over the ocean, but pieces ended up landing in Australia, and a lot of those pieces end up in museums. So it ended up being a big tourist attraction, seeing these pieces at this big space station. Husam Yosef, thank you very much for the $10. Has saved Sheikh Jarrah, Free Palestine. We try not to get too political, but we read the messages that come in. Crazy Ray, $5. Thank you very much. If we are in a 10-mile radius when it crashes, would we feel a quake? So you won't feel a quake from the actual impact of the pieces, but you may hear sonic booms, which could shake your house or would sound like thunder. So you can't rule out sonic booms. Jacob Bryan, thanks for the $5. Says, thank you so much for your extensive and thorough coverage. Cheers from Indiana. Thank you very much for the donations. This is really, really helpful. So it's exciting to see everybody watching this together. We're waiting on some kind of next update, continuing to refresh all the feeds and see if there's any radar data. So people still watching it on social media at this point. Is over the Indian Ocean on the way to the southwestern coast of Australia. We know that it was intact as it came over the Middle East, but fairly low altitude. And so we're watching that. So Lexi Aldridge, thank you for the $5. Says, thanks for this information. Me and my cousin are very interested in this. We are from Pennsylvania. Well, hi to you and your cousin. And thank you, Hussam Yusuf. Says Free Palestine. So people asking, yeah, would it create any kind of tidal wave? There will be no tidal wave created from this. You know, the biggest impact is if it lands on some piece of property or a person, right? But the odds of that are very low. At this point, it's traveling over the Indian Ocean. If it were to come down now, it's in a safe spot. Caleb Harrower, thank you for the donation. Is there an estimated time that they're predicting it'll hit? So the answer is, you know, we have passed that point where they originally predicted it would hit. However, there's about a plus or minus an hour time frame on that. So sometime in this next orbit, we think it's going to come down, according to the latest data and the experts and companies that basically try to look at this data carefully. So continuing to watch the situation. Rocket is currently over the Indian Ocean. Again, this was, you know, thank you, Jackson, for the donation. This was a Long March 5B rocket, carried the Chinese space station to orbit. For whatever reason, they either chose not to deorbit it or they were unable to deorbit it. And so it's currently undergoing a uncontrolled reentry. Okay, so an update, Elzar 760 says, Aerospace Corporation says it may have reentered, absence of new data sets, etc. Okay, so very interesting. So it's possible it could have reentered. We're going to continue to monitor, look for confirmation of that. Daryl Lynn Alvarez, thank you for the $5, says, shout out to my hardworking husband, Tony, from Chicago. So thank you very much. So we're continuing to monitor the situation very carefully. They said absence of new data. I'm not sure if that's referring to on one of the radar stations where they were expecting it or not. We're continuing to watch it. Diego Pardo, thank you very much for that thumbs up. So the orbital ground track is currently over the Indian Ocean. We knew it was intact coming off the coast of the Middle East. So we think that it may, there's some potential it could have come down or be coming down over the Indian Ocean right now. We're awaiting some kind of confirmation. Obviously not a very inhabited area, but we do know it made it through the Middle East. The next possible place where it could be seen would be Australia. It is daylight there, so they won't see it if it's still up. But if it's coming down as fireballs, then it would be visible. Obviously, a lot of land mass over there, so we're awaiting some kind of confirmation here. So if you're in Southwest Australia, you know, now's the time where you start thinking about heading outside and looking for things. Somebody asking, is Hawaii safe? So as of right now, it doesn't look like it's going to make it all the way to Hawaii. We'll see, though. And even if it does, there's low potential for accident or injury. You know, there's a lot of space on Earth. That's one thing that's nice. There's a lot of open space. You know, it can be deceiving when you live in a city, you know, because you see tons of people. But you know, most places on Earth are still very much uninhabited, which is good when you have these sorts of situations. So I see lots of Australians in the chat. Yeah, definitely looking forward to hearing what you have to say. A couple people asking, is it radioactive? It would definitely not be radioactive. So no hazard from that. How can it reentry when reentry starts at 100 kilometers, 62 miles above the Earth? Sea level and altitude at the moment is approximately 157 kilometers. Yeah. So there are high and low points of the orbit. You know, these orbital elements are based on you know the latest data that we had from space surveillance radars. This is based on the assumption that it is still in orbit. So because orbits have a high point and a low point on the orbit, you know, it's possible that you know that the low point of the orbit is already taking it inside the atmosphere, and if that were to happen, you know, it would very rapidly deorbit. Melissa Dunstan, thank you for joining cabin crew. Chris B, thank you. Says James Gill is hiding in the corner of his basement in New Jersey. Can you tell him it's safe to come upstairs? Well, James, I would say no need to hide in the basement any longer. Head on upstairs. I don't think it's going to make it to the U.S. It'd be pretty shocking. Champion Gold Gaming, will Brad Pitt be safe? I think most likely if he's in the United States, pretty safe place right now. I don't think it's going to stay in space that long. You never know, but you know, we'll see. So Bethany Mihai, thank you for the donation. Thank you everyone who's been asking questions via Super Chat. It really helps us throughout the day get through all this. Eon Boyle, thank you for the donation. Do you think the rocket will be affected by Candace? Not sure what that's quite referring to. Mr. Bretzel Emino, sorry if I get your names wrong. Is Canada safe? So at this point, it looks like North America, it's not going to stay in orbit long enough to reach North America. It'd be pretty surprising if it does. Annabelle, thank you for the donation. Thanks for this. Please shout out to my boyfriend Johannes. We're tuned in. Well, shout out to Johannes. Champion Gold Gaming. Will Mia Khalifa be safe? Hopefully. Megan Ashcroft, North Perth Westfield, thank you for the donation. And again, these are coming through very quickly, so I do apologize if any of these if I miss any of these. Big Lemon, if it landed on my property, would I own it? So this gets kind of a legal gray area, you know. Oftentimes, you know, for spacecraft, the owners of the spacecraft do claim they have ownership. However, depending on what country it lands in, you know, whether they have local jurisdiction, you know, for that, you know, varies. Greg Tanner, thank you very much for the $2. Says anyone in New Jersey should worry? Question mark. Or I guess my answer is if you're in New Jersey, you should worry. It's most likely either re-entered already, preparing to re-enter. So appreciate that. Somebody asked me, what do you do? So my day job, I do run a company that builds large vertical takeoff drones called Aerial Vehicle Automation. We're building drones that can carry make 1,500 pounds of thrust to carry several hundred pounds at a time. So initially cargo, then who knows, maybe one day humans, we'll see. But that's what I do in my day job as an engineer and as an executive of that company. Proud.army.family, thank you very much for the $5. Says happy Mother's Day to my beautiful daughter-in-law, Cassandra in Wisconsin. And the other parts of what I do is I do cover rocket launches. I've been doing it for about 10 years, from the space shuttle to Falcon 9s, Falcon Heavies, Starship, Atlas 5 rockets, you know, Delta 4 Heavies. I've covered been fortunate enough to cover a wide variety of rockets and film them on my personal channel, which is David Go Jr., David Gojr. Samantha Belfiore, thank you very much. Can you say hi to Joe McKenzie? He has a tummy ache. Well, I hope, Joe, that your tummy ache gets way better, and hope you're doing well. So at this point, we're approaching the southwestern coast of Australia with this center stage here. And if you're in Australia, now's the time to kind of go outside, start kind of watching the horizon, keeping an eye on this thing, see if you see any kind of fireballs. The state, we're in a sort of a zombie state. We don't know whether this thing is dead or alive at this point. We don't know whether it's re-entered already or still in orbit, but we do know that it's likely coming down soon. It's getting dragged in by the Earth's atmosphere. So I'm going to take a brief moment, just check some of the feeds here, see if a colleague sent anything. So this will pass almost directly over Perth, Australia, if it is still in orbit. So if you're in Perth, get out there, take a look. Let us know if you see anything. You kind of glance on social media every now and then, people mistake an airplane for the trails, but you'd know it was still up as of the Middle East, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. Of course, it's now been in. Somebody asking, is New Zealand in danger? And so it's your ESM. So the answer is the ground track does go over New Zealand. We don't know whether it's re-entered yet or not, but the ground track does pass over New Zealand, so keep an eye on that. Alex the Goat YouTube says R.I.P. Candace. She got hit by the rocket. So Candace getting kind of trolled here. Chat. Susan Schultz, thank you very much for the $5. So continuing to monitor the situation. So Perth, Australia is kind of the next zone. Megan Ashcroft North Perth Westfield says shout out Brandon, I love you. Give him that shout out there. Maddie Gaga, hey, welcome back again. A massive shout out to my cousin in Australia, Bunduga VIC, Oscar Riddell. He is tuned in. Well, hello to Oscar Riddell. Little JO2 Gaming says, why you is you and me is me? Who knows? That's one of those fundamental questions. The fickle finger of fate, right? Neguenar Nadaye, thanks for the $2. Says, paint on canvas on IG. I want to meet some of y'all. Go check him out. Thanks once again to everybody on the super chats. He's been going today. So at this point, we are moments away from the passing of this this Chinese Long March 5 B stage passing over Australia. If it is still in the air, we don't know. It may have re-entered. We don't know yet. Grayson Powell, thank you very much, saying Steve Kornacki has got nothing on you. BA Method, thank you. Schrodinger's rocket. So yeah, right at this moment, if you're in Perth, it should be right above you. If it's still up, or if it's gone down the Indian Ocean, there won't be anything. But also, if it's still safely in orbit, you also wouldn't see it because it's in the middle of the day there, so there won't be enough contrast. Jason Jones, thanks for the $10.69 donation. Dogecoin to the moon. Tyler DeVole, thank you for the donation. Will this be observed by the orbit of BOFA? I am not sure. Great question. I don't know off the top of my hand where BOFA is. Mary Stokes, could you say happy birthday to Marissa Bobo? Well, happy birthday to Marissa Bobo. And it's cool. We have this kind of convergence of people from around the world monitoring this in different languages and different places. So I do apologize if I mess up on any pronunciations, but doing my best. Saying Iraq is freaking out from the rocket. Well, you shouldn't be worried about it now. It should have passed you safely. We know that, it did make it out of Saudi Arabia in one piece. So we're continuing to monitor this thing. It's right over Australia right now, about to fly back off the coast. So it looks like it'll pass over the kind of very northern area of Tasmania and then out to New Zealand after that. So Bertram Whitman, shout out to Tom H. What's up from Northridge? Donna Anderson, thank you for the chat. Shauna K, how unusual is for it to go in orbital velocity like this? Well, not unusual. In fact, many rockets are launched every year now, so not too unusual. Continuing to go through these. Bonnie B says, "Tell Randy I love him." Well, Bonnie loves you, Randy. Michael Haas, where is the rocket.com? Yeah, we don't know. That's the question, right? Money to Mooney Productions, 1172. Thank you very much. Asking, where do babies come from? You have to open up your biology textbook for that. Kind of funny story. Even though I'm an engineer now, in college I actually was a biology major and then took extra engineering physics. So go figure. Can answer that, but probably too much detail for the stream. Flyersman, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Doge Elon Musk, Mars coin is the new thing to Mars. So Doge Elon Mars coin, the new thing to Mars. Interesting. Masha Sharoki, thanks again. Some people are saying the rocket is down. Again, not sure if it's true or not yet on Twitter. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. We're still waiting for some kind of formal confirmation, either from one of the radar surveillance sites or waiting for confirmation in the terms of a video of reentry occurring. So at this point, possible it may be down, as we've been saying, but we don't know yet. So I am seeing some indications on Twitter claiming that there may have been reentry, but we're unverified as of right now. We know it made it off the coast of the Middle East. So as of right now, we're getting ready to, we're passing south of Australia. Next landfall would be kind of just northern Tasmania from the appearance of it here. So just continuing to monitor the chat here. Thank you very much for the super chats. Apologize if I missed any. Amalab FB, thank you very much. Palmeiras, Nao, Tan, Mundial. I don't know if I said that correctly, but thanks. Ceci, thank you. Went to the live chat here. Eva Jordan saying, thanks for the $5. I am eating a granola bar right now, and it is absolute gas. So thanks for that one. Vicky, no re-entry over Perth, Western Australia. Okay, so thank you for the update, Vicky. That's awesome. Good, solid information there. Appreciate you following up and donating as you did it. Salty Dog 001, thank you very much. Happy Mother's Day to my beautiful, kind, and golden-hearted Shannon Yost. So happy Mother's Day, Shannon. And thanks for the donation. Can I get a shout out to Cody and Taylor Andrews from Auckland, New Zealand? So shout out to Cody and Taylor. Hope we don't get hit. We'll see. Shout out to Exotic Leopard 92. He's my bro. So at this point, if you're in Southern Australia, keep an eye out for any kind of fireball show. Even kind of the Sydney region, keep an eye out. Anywhere in this sort of gray or bluish circle could potentially see it. And if it is re-entering, if there is a fireball re-entry, you would likely see it during the day, as long as there's not clouds blocking you. So keep an eye out there. But you can see from the ground track, flight over the kind of the northern part of Tasmania and then flight over New Zealand. Trevor Gretzky, thank you. Marshall Dines, thank you. I want to wish Lisa Dines a happy Mother's Day from Alex and Kara. Richard Gruber, is Papa John Shatner the man who once ate over 40 pizzas in 30 days going to be okay? Hopefully. Kristen Lopez, thank you. Kia Kaha, New Zealand, we got this, we always do. Well, anybody in any of these areas, please do keep me updated. If you see, keep us all updated. You've got 44,000 people here who want to know what's going on with this. The whole world is watching. So continuing to check here. Still no formal confirmation that it has landed at this point. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So I am seeing something on Twitter showing potentially fireball in Oman, but too early to tell whether that is it or not. And we did have reports from. Okay, Anthony Quintano, thank you for the $50, saying Chinese rocket down over Indian Ocean according to Chinese government. Okay, very interesting. Let's see if we can get a confirmation. This thing may be down. It's possible. So continuing to check here. So still waiting on formal confirmation. China's Human Spaceflight Agency predicts Landmark 5B reentry occurred at 2 UTC today, plus or minus 15 minutes. So that's a prediction based on the orbital elements. But once again, until we have radar confirmation or we have video, then we don't know. Okay, continue to look here. Read some super chats. Thank you very much. Anna Drew Pramil, thank you very much. Rick R says, was worried about my wedding next month in New Jersey. Shout out to my fiance Megan. Love you. Thanks for covering and pray all are safe. And Trevor Gretzky, thank you again for the chat as well. And once again, apologize if there are any super chats I've missed. They're moving very quickly here, and sometimes I'm multitasking, so do apologize if any are missed. But at this point, if this thing is still in the air, it would be headed towards New Zealand right now. And so the Chinese government saying they think it based on their orbital elements, that it would be down in the Indian Ocean, but we don't know for sure. You know, their guesses is likely not any better than ours. They don't have likely any better data necessarily than we do. Leslie Vianet, thank you very much for the $5 chat. Appreciate it. So yeah, just kind of waiting on further information here. At this point, if it is still up, it would be approaching New Zealand. So anybody still in southeastern Australia now, you know, let us know what's going on for sure. I'm just checking my messages here, see if there's anything new. Okay, so my colleague just did post, important. CZ5B China has announced that the estimated time of reentry will be at 10:12 plus 15 minutes on May 9th. At the center of the reentry area will be located 28.38 east longitude and 34.43 north latitude Chinese rocket. And so we're still trying to confirm that, if that is actually down or not. Somebody is saying, spacetrack.org, that they spoke with the team. We have indications the rocket is down. Once they get radar confirmation of nothing in orbit, which will be at after 0300 UTC, they will release a final message with time. Y'all can start hiding in your bunkers. So there are some people, various sources, now kind of getting more and more credible that this thing may be down. But we're still awaiting that radar confirmation at 3 Zulu. So hopefully in around 10 minutes or so, we'll have some formal notification here. KCG, thank you very much for the $5. Would you mind promoting my hubby's YouTube channel? Coffee Pot Space Dad. It's about family life topics. If not, I understand. Happy face. Well, happy to read out super chats as they come in. That's the benefit. Tyler DeVole, thank you very much for the $10. The astronaut Yuri Retard said this could land in Europe, but of course seems like most of the sources are now converging on possibly a landing in the Indian Ocean. We're still awaiting confirmation. We'll see if on this expected radar update around 3 UTC, which is in about 10 minutes from now, if this thing actually is down. Joseph Fish, 1966, thanks for the super chat. So if it is down, you know, it would appear that it was sometime after passing over the Middle East and before it reached Australia. We're still awaiting though. Ashley Page, thank you very much. She says, I'm in Allendale, South Australia, and saw absolutely nothing in the sky, just a few clouds, but enough clarity to see any kind of light show. So good to know. So we're getting a lot of reports that people saw it in the Middle East, in Oman, in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia, and then people were not seeing anything in Australia so far. So does support that it's possible that it went down in the Indian Ocean, but we're waiting that final confirmation. So we're all in this together, just kind of seeing what the final outcome of this is. Is it down? Is it still up? If it is still up, it would be going over New Zealand right now. So anybody in New Zealand, please take a look for us. Let us know. Let us know in the chat whether it's down. A happy Mother's Day to Susan Bobo. Thanks, Murray Strokes, for the chat. So kind of like as I've been talking about the whole time, if it does end up in the ocean, you know, that was always the most likely outcome. El Eco Loco, thank you very much for the chat. Happy Mother's Day to Yolanda. Mike Bowers, Safe Moon Token to the Moon. Thank you for the donation. Maka Framala Lama, live long and prosper. Live long and prosper to you as well. As Spock would say. Johannes Klusch, Annabelle, I love you so much. I can't wait to see you in 15 sleeps. Lil J02 Gaming, also Hot Dog Water 52. He's my bro too. So thank you very much for those chats, guys. So at this point, should be over now the far, basically eastern coast of New Zealand at this point. Be curious to hear if anybody there has seen anything. It it does seem we are getting reports that it may be down, according to many different sources. We are long past our, the estimate of when the window began for reentry. So, Mari D'Angelo, happy Mother's Day to Cheryl Ann from her hubby Robster. Trevor Gretzky, I'm in the doghouse. Can you help me cheer up my girlfriend? We love the channel. Well, Trevor's girlfriend, I hope you get Trevor out of the doghouse soon. He's sure been nice to us today, so we really appreciate it. Okay, continuing to monitor the feeds here. Hoping for an update here in about 6 minutes. So lots of reports coming in about an Indian Ocean landing still. Still trying to confirm those with some sort of solid radar, situation where the object is missing from the radar. Still looking at multiple sources, still radar confirmation awaiting. At this point, it is now flying out of New Zealand zone. Be curious if anybody in New Zealand saw it. Chris B, thanks for the play-by-play. James Gill finally came up from the basement. Well, good. Glad James is finally out of the basement. Or it's safe now, it appears to be. Masha Sharoki, thank you very much once again. Says Jonathan McDowell, insiders at Space Force reporting that data indicates the rocket has indeed re-entered, but awaiting for confirmation, i.e. it correctly fails to show up on radar next time around. Okay, so it seems like some of the Space Force folks, the experts in all this, do think it may be down, but awaiting that radar definitive confirmation that it's missing. Pamelav FB for Bolsonaro, thank you for the donation. Specs SZN says, I saw the rocket 2 minutes ago in Melbourne. I got it on film. Okay, interesting. Well, if you have it on film, feel free to post it on Twitter and it will get passed around and disseminated. So we'll see here. So at this point, the rocket center core stage, again, this thing was launched the Chinese space station up. Just to kind of give a quick recap, has been going through an uncontrolled reentry. We don't know yet whether it is down or not. There are a lot of experts who seem to think it most likely is, but everybody also agrees to wait for radar confirmation. So shout out to Rob the Pfeiffer, long live Prog Rock, from Michael House. Thank you for the chat. So just awaiting confirmation. At this point, if it is still up, it is in the southern Pacific Ocean, and it is going on a very long cruise over absolutely nothing. No land, just huge ocean and for thousands and thousands of miles. So at this point, we're just waiting for some kind of confirmation. Debo, thanks for the $5. Can you do a shout out to Chandel and tell her Happy Mother's Day? Well, Chandel, Happy Mother's Day. Happy to do it. So we all watch this interesting historical event go down. What'll be interesting are what kind of happens after this is all over. Will the Chinese kind of aim to deorbit their rockets or not? Will lessons be learned from this? It'll be interesting to find out. Elise Kapaner, thank you very much for the chat. Aloha. Happy almost birthday, Bree. So thank you very much for the $15 super chat. Awesome. And thank you for the $10 super chat from Mike as well. Every little bit helps and helps us to cover these types of events. If you liked, commentary today, and if you liked everything that was going on, we do appreciate, finances are tough, but anything you're able to donate is awesome. But at this point, we're still awaiting the fate of this core stage. And the definitive proof will come if we hear from one of the space surveillance radar teams that something's missing. So we're waiting for that. Still checking. Have more confirmations from Israel that it was visible when it passed over Israel. So here's what we know. We have lots of videos and confirmations that it passed over Israel, passed over the Middle East, passed over Saudi Arabia, Jordan. And then at some point between there and Australia, we weren't able to see it again. But then again, if it was still up, we wouldn't see it during the day because it's the middle of the day for Australia. So we'll continue to monitor this. Damien Greenwell, thank you for the chat. Huge shout out to all the mothers, and a double shout out to the mothers who are on the front lines battling COVID as nurses. So much love. So absolutely second that a million times. It's been a difficult last year for everybody. And it's nice that we can all be united to watch some space news together. Heather the lawyer, thank you for the chat. Can you say hi to Sophia from her mom Heather? Well, Sophia, mom Heather says, your mom Heather says hello. Thank you very much for the 3,000 yen. I unfortunately can't read your name, but best wishes. Robert Hampson Music, thank you for the 5. Hi from Scotland, UK. I don't think the rocket has landed yet, as the UK news is still saying it's not landed yet. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think they're probably in the same kind of la-la land that we are, where we're awaiting some kind of formal confirmation. We have a lot of experts saying that it should have gone down by now. We know that it, made it out of the Middle East. We don't know anything beyond that yet. We haven't seen any videos yet. Izzy Chi, thank you for the chat. Frank Rosiak, shout out to Frank, and shout out Happy Mother's Day to my perfect wife, Yasmin. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. At this point, if this rocket stage is still in the air, it would be over the southern Pacific Ocean. Just continuing to monitor it at this point. See if we get a formal radar confirmation. We are seeing kind of conflicting information on whether it's down or not. We do have at least one report somebody claims to have seen it, but sometimes you can see, sometimes things can be confusing. So we're still trying to determine whether that's accurate or not. Oh, just doing another search here. Latest. Thank you very much for the chat. And yeah, appreciate the kind words here. Kurt Bidwell, thanks for the coverage. Been watching all night. Happy to be here. Happy to talk some orbital reentry stuff. Fun stuff. Just checking the latest updates here. Still awaiting formal confirmation here. So if for some reason it does make it to land still, if it has not landed, looks like we would be almost reaching Mexico. On this next orbit. So we will see. So it is 3 UTC. So we're just waiting for somebody to make a tweet about that last data here, or to see if we get an update off the space surveillance website directly. So we're looking at that. Thank you for the super chat. Hello from Japan. I hope not harm anyone. Hello, happy Mother's Day. Well, we all hope the same thing. Odds are it's down the ocean somewhere, but we're waiting. Thanks for the new membership from Templeton. Welcome to Cabin Crew. And if you like this channel, we do urge you to subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. If you like me, my personal YouTube is David Go Jr. David G-O-J-R. Again, David G-O-J-R. We're here to cover space launch events for you. We're going to be covering a lot of other future space events, whether it be launches, landings, as the SpaceX program to fly, astronauts to Mars and to the moon continues. We're going to be all over that. So if you like what you see here today and you like this kind of coverage, there's a lot of good knowledge we can bring to those areas as well. And thank you for the chat. Take Note 101. Happy Mother's Day to beautiful wife Sarah. Happy Mother's Day there. So it looks like we do have some recent footage getting put up here. Probably one of the passes over the Middle East, perhaps. We'll see. Or let me see. Let me actually talk to my colleague here and see where this was. So waiting confirmation on that. Thank you for the chat. Thank you for the 1,000 yen. Tora, Invoke, thank you very much. Seeing some interesting tweets here. Let me just see if this is, see if we can confirm any of these here before I announce it. So there are, some people posting videos of the 2015 reentry of the ATV Jules Verne capsule, claiming it's the Chinese rocket. So like anything on social media, you've got to be extra careful to make sure that the information is correct. Do you see video from Israel if it's still intact? But yeah, still awaiting confirmation. Oh, video from Oman looks like a long tail, like it was burning up or breaking up, maybe. So yeah, if that footage from Oman does indeed end up being genuine, it does appear like there is streaming going on, like it is in the process of reentry, but we don't know yet if that is correct video or not. Because again, people like to kind of pull hoaxes. They know that people are looking for this kind of video on Twitter, and they go on there and they post an old video, or they. So we're awaiting confirmation. Lisa Thompson, thank you very much. Hello from Michigan. Thank you for doing this. So you're very, very welcome. It's been fun to share the evening here on the weekend with you all. This has definitely been fun. Okay, so just still waiting that radar confirmation. We know we were expecting that around 3 UTC, which has passed. We're about 5 minutes past that, so hopefully any minute we'll get some news. If this thing is still up, and that's a big if, it's looking more likely than not that it's down. But if it is still up, next landfall would be southern Mexico, just north of Guatemala and Nicaragua. So a few answers, will it hit Texas? Seems like almost no chance of that. It likely is, could be down at this point. We're just waiting for the formal confirmation before we call it. But really appreciate all the viewership on the stream and on space. I think it's a exciting time to be alive, where you have, being in a space age where things go right a lot of the time, and sometimes things go wrong. But that's part of the journey. And it is nice to see that other countries like China are getting to space and improving their programs as well. I think it helps all of humanity to have competition and different ways of getting things done. Snazzy 2.0, thank you very much for the chat. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Well, thank you, Snazzy, for helping us out. Zara Phils, thank you for the chat as well. Thanks so much for the commentary and maps. Super helpful. Well, thank you. So the thinking right now is that it may be down. But once again, we're just kind of awaiting any kind of formal confirmation. Thank you for the chat. Juhi Asha says, Jacob Bergen, I love you. So at this point, it is flying, across the day-night terminator. Now it's in the middle of the ocean. So if somebody was around there, they'd be able to see it if it was still, in space. But we're very quickly headed into nighttime here over Mexico. And if it does not, appear visible there, that definitely would be a data point. The other thing is, since it is approaching kind of the very southern tip of North America, with being in Mexico, kind of Central America, I would hope that we'd be in range of some of the United States Air Force's space surveillance radars. So we should have some update here sometime soon. Vicky, thank you very much once again. Thanks so much for this as being super interesting, and your commentary has been A+. Well, hey, really appreciate that. We'll have to do some more of these in the future. This is, believe it or not, my first time doing one of these live streams, so it's fun to do one. I usually shoot videos of rocket launches and landings and that sort of stuff. I do a lot of engineering, so it's fun to come out here and talk technical stuff with everybody. So it will be interesting with this Mexico pass. If we don't get any videos from there, that definitely would be a data point. And Ethan, if you do see any updates, please message me so I can relay them here. Okay, looks like I got something here. Grepster123, thank you very much. Your message says Space Force has reportedly said that it has re-entered. Jonathan McDowell retweeted or tweeted. Okay, so we'll check on that right now. If so, that would be good news. It would likely indicate it dropping into the Indian Ocean. And we are seeing that. Insiders, here's the tweet. Insiders at Space Force reporting that data indicates the rocket has indeed re-entered, but still waiting for confirmation, i.e. correctly, it fails to show up on radar next time around, presumably somewhere between the Middle East and Australia. Stay tuned. And then 1 minute ago, an update, still waiting for Space Force confirmation, but indications are, with low to moderate confidence, the rocket probably came down somewhere over the Indian Ocean. Okay, so that matches very, very much what we've been saying based on the available information. So that's the latest. Hopefully we get an official Space Force, we'll call it and say, okay, it's down. We will see. Honey Clouds, thank you. This is very helpful. Thank you. Well, thank you very much too for the donation. We will stay here until we get some kind of radar confirmation. This thing is indeed down. If it is still up, it's approaching the southern area of Mexico. And if it is still up after that, it could actually make a pass on southern Florida. But it does appear that this thing is most likely in the Indian Ocean some minutes ago. A-Rod, thank you for the $100 super chat. You're the best. Says, thank you for sharing educational and informative data. We thank you. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know, and I'll give you a free haircut. Well, thank you very much, A-Rod. I really appreciate it. I know from the whole team at Infinite Space, it means a lot to hear that the coverage was helpful and informative, and it's been an adventure watching this thing come down. So we will see. So already getting an update from retweet by Jonathan McDowell. He says the CNSA/CMS official account on Weibo confirms that Long March 5 CZ5B booster has re-entered at 2:24 UTC, May 9th. The location of the re-entry is 72.47 degrees east, 2.65 degrees north. The CMS website appears to be down now. So apparently they made that post and then people are kind of swarming it to try to see more information, but it has crashed the website. So it is possible that this thing's down. We're continuing to get information that leads us to think it's down. Another update from Jonathan McDowell. China now reporting that it is down right over the Maldives Islands, which is in the Indian Ocean. So they're saying now reporting the rocket re-entered at 0224 UTC at 72.47 east, 2.65 degrees north, which is right over the Maldives, which you can pull that up on Google Earth. If correct, will be interesting to see if we get any reports from there. So that is a populated island. Yeah, it would be real fascinating if somebody happened to get a video out there in the Indian Ocean. So interesting. It's also good information that we're getting specific coordinates seems to maybe indicate maybe there was some radar data or something to support that. But we will see. We will see. Hopefully, in this world of phones, somebody can could have gotten a shot of it. So as you can see here, colleague is looking to find the possible location where they're indicating it might have dropped. If it is still in the air, it would be coming right over the horizon in Mexico. So Ethan, the Maldives are kind of over, to the southwest of Sri Lanka, if you're able to locate that. But yeah, this has been really an exciting evening following this this drama of this rocket reentering. It really is quite the story. And this kind of thing happens from time to time, but it's unusual when you have this 23-ton object, that's getting ready to fall down. So there's the Maldives. It does appear to be off the ground track, so I'm a little skeptical of those coordinates, but we'll see. We'll see as we get more information here. Super chat from Andrew Blaine says, "Thank you for the stream." Well, thank you, Andrew, for joining us and seeing what's going on with this thing. So still no official Space Force confirmation, or hopefully get that soon. Jonathan McDowell making another tweet saying an ocean reentry was always statistically the most likely. It appears China wanted to gamble unless we get news of debris in the Maldives, but it was still reckless according to him. So yeah, I will say, it'd be nice in the future if China can get those reentries from uncontrolled to controlled. I think people would breathe a lot easier and probably a lot less stress over everybody. So once again, I do see some questions. How will we know if it landed? It does appear it most likely has landed due to various reports, including from the Chinese government. However, we are still awaiting radar data. Radar should have come around 3 UTC, which was about 15 minutes ago. So we're hoping maybe they're just carefully looking at that data, making sure they're not missing anything before they making an announcement. But I do think more likely than not, it came down somewhere in the Indian Ocean between the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and the coast of Australia. So we're just trying to get confirmation. Lots of people saying that the rocket's down. If it was to still be up, it would be passing over southern Mexico right now. So if you do happen to be in southern Mexico and you go out there, take a look, just in case. Until you have that formal confirmation, it's sort of in limbo. Moki Tum Tum, thank you very much. It's the past Georgia now. It really, I'm not sure if you're talking about Georgia the country or Georgia the state, but it does appear that it most likely is down in the Indian Ocean. Sophia Murillo, thank you for the chat, says video of Twitter user WTF Lalbai, who lives in the Middle East, where you can see the rocket with a bright yellow glow. Looks like it's on fire. Okay, so I will go check that out, see what's going on there. We did have that video, possibly from Oman, that that showed, it looked like an object with kind of some plasma trail going behind it. So it's very possible that this thing was starting its reentry as it left the Middle East, and then ultimately probably came down somewhere in the Indian Ocean. That's the best information we have at this point. Looking at that video, by no means definitive. It could be, that could be a high altitude trail being lit up by sunlight. So I definitely wouldn't say that video is definitive, but looking at it, we'll see. Thanks for sharing it anyway, though. Okay, continuing to look at this thing here. Christian Davenport making a tweet says there was a big public outcry after China shot down a dead weather satellite in 2007, causing a huge debris field that still causes problems today. Many U.S. officials think only public pressure will prevent another spent rocket stage reentry problem like the one we saw today. So that is something that, what is the aftermath of this whole event? And these next two Chinese space station modules too are supposed to fly on the same rocket. So let's hope that perhaps China will kind of see the public outcry and see that people were kind of worrying about this and everything, and will maybe try a little harder on the deorbiting or fix whatever problem kept them from doing it. Let's hope for a better future with fewer multi-ton, 20-ton objects falling out of the sky. Whitney Brundledge, thank you for the super chat. She reports that Space Track on Twitter confirmed it's down. So we'll take a look at that. Space Track on Twitter. See if they're referencing any radar data or not. Yeah, so spacetrack.org is generally a pretty reliable source for information. So still no radar confirmation, but obviously there seems to be strong indications that it's likely down by now. So okay, well at this point, it may be down, but if you are in the southern region of Florida, and you do, if it is by some strange reason still up, we would appreciate reports over Florida at this point. It would be starting to become visible about 45 degrees high in the sky, and it will pass over south central Florida. So if you are in those areas, let me know if you see anything. Most likely down, but obviously would like to have some final confirmation for this. See again some more tweets here. Yeah, just further confirmation coming from China, CNSA, CMS official account, confirming that it re-entered. So really Florida will be the last kind of look at it, I think. Whitney Rutledge, thank you for the $5, says, I'm in Tampa and outside watching. Perfect. See if anything comes overhead. I think at this point we'd all be surprised if it's still up, but we will see. Stephen Childress, thank you. Welcome to Captain. Thank you for joining. I'm just having an internal discussion here with my colleagues here about where, if it did land in the Maldives, what those coordinates went to. Would be somewhat north of the ground track, so not totally 100% sure on that, but it likely did go down the Indian Ocean. But according to those coordinates from the Chinese government, it would have been very close to an island if that is actually the case. But it also does appear kind of more north of the ground track than we would have maybe have expected. So we'll see. We'll see. Jennifer Tirado, welcome to Cabin Crew. Thank you very much. So at this point, if it is still up, it would be over the Gulf of Mexico, getting ready to make an appearance in Florida. Oh, actually, I would have already passed Florida. My screen lagged a little bit. Well, Jason Sutton, thank you for the super chat. And Masha Sharoki, hi, thank you for the chat. Aerospace Corporation tweeted confirmation from spacetrack.org, Long March 5B is down. So it seems to be the consensus at this point that it has landed in the Indian Ocean between the Middle East and Australia, the coast of Australia. Still possibly around the Maldives, although that report's a little bit unconfirmed because it seems to be a little further north of the ground track than expected. But we will see. Hopefully somebody got some video somewhere, and we can kind of get some closure on all this. But very cool, very cool. Jennifer Tirado updates us. Thank you for the super chat. Outside now, live in DeLand, Florida, by Ocala National Woods. So it's pitch black, and so going to look. Shout out to Savannah and Amy. We were all looking. So cool. So we've got some good spotters that were on the ground there in Florida, and doesn't seem like it has made it that far. Jared Kennard, thanks for the chat. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, Lori Kuckinger, from her husband, Barry. So happy Mother's Day to you, Lori. Well, do encourage everybody who's here to subscribe to this channel. We're going to continue to cover space events here. Somebody says I've been watching from Miami and nothing here. Ninja 2, thank you very much for the super chat and for giving us the update. Yeah, seems very unlikely that it's still in orbit at this point. We're running on old orbital elements, haven't been updated now for some time. Still no confirmation from the United States Space Force, but they may be waiting for multiple different radar acquisitions to show that it's missing before they formally call it. But at this point, does appear that it came down somewhere in the Indian Ocean, according to consensus of experts everywhere. So for anybody interested in space news, Kristen Davenport reporting the Long March 5B is down, possibly in the Indian Ocean. He says Elon Musk is up, definitely live from New York. So from one space news area to another. Bucktang, thank you very much for the super chat. Yo, can you say Happy Mother's Day to Sharina? Thank you. Well, Happy Mother's Day, Sharina. Also really appreciate the super chat. Ace Orbit. What's up, E-Train? Thank you for the chat. Gift Marima, thanks for the $5. Says, so the whole this time you're bluffing. I wasted 5 hours. So you can't be trusted because the predicted time is out. Well, it does actually appear that the predicted time was very close. We had said it would be plus or minus an hour. We saw it go over the, it was kind of estimating originally. The last data we had was that it would come down perhaps, most likely in the Mediterranean. Appears to have flown a little longer, maybe another 15, 20 minutes or so. But then all reports indicating that it came down in the Indian Ocean. So do appreciate your support. These are always estimates based on very, very complicated rocket science, drag calculations, data processing, and ultimately, it looks like it came down very close to when the predicted time was. So. But the good news is, it appears that hasn't landed on anybody, at least as of yet. no news stories of that, and most likely came down in the Indian Ocean, off somewhere between the Middle East and the western coast of Australia. So a lot of ocean on this planet, lots of places to absorb things like that without hurting anybody. So that's good news, and we're always happy to hear that. Crazy Ray, thank you very much for the donation. Thank you for keeping us updated on the rocket. You're very welcome. You know, what's cool is between radar updates, these companies that do reentry estimates and social media, you know, it's cool. We're able to track, to track these objects and to a pretty reasonable point, figure out where they landed halfway across the world. So pretty amazing. GRD 11 friends, YouTube, thank you very much for the donation. What will happen if it lands in your state? Well, at this point, it looks like it won't land in your state. It looks like it's going to land. It landed in the Indian Ocean already. You know, we're still kind of awaiting the absolute confirmation for that, but at this point, it seems that it most likely came down somewhere in the Indian Ocean. The Chinese have given coordinates, that seem a little bit too far north of the ground track potentially, but it does appear that we might have seen some plasma coming off the stage as it departed the Middle East. And then we know that it most likely didn't make it to Australia. So we know that it went down somewhere in that big wide ocean out there. It likely splashed down and maybe only disturbed a few fish. Reina, thank you for the super chat. Apparently the rocket is down according to the Chinese government. Not sure though. And yeah, that's kind of where we all are right now. We're just presumably it's missing on the radars by now, I would expect. But and for anybody interested, pin a comment, join the Discord server. So if you're interested in this kind of space stuff, rocketry, launches, landings, we're entering into a new era of exciting reusable rockets with a lot of the Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and Starship stuff. So be sure to join that Discord and follow us there. Well, still monitoring the chat to see if there's any further information or questions coming in. Hopefully the whole point of this too was to hopefully keep everybody calm and collected, that there was always very low risk of it hitting anybody or causing any damage or even landing on land at all. So Nika, thank you very much for the chat. Gavanka, Nika loves you so much. So Gavanka, you're very loved by Nika. So we haven't heard of any reports either in Mexico, in Australia, New Zealand, or in Florida that this thing was visible. So last report was really out in the Middle East. We're kind of enlarging this video. That's purportedly the last video of it. We will see. It'll be interesting if we end up getting some more firm data on where exactly this thing landed. But it seems to be best bet somewhere in the Indian Ocean, which was always the most likely thing to happen. Continuing to look here, the latest feeds. Spacetrack.org saying, we believe the rocket went down in the Indian Ocean, but are waiting on official data from at 18 SPCS, which is the 18th Space Control Squadron, which detects, tracks, identifies all artificial objects in Earth orbit. So that's what we're waiting on, is we're waiting for an official kind of US government post about this, the 18th Space Control Squadron. reason we probably don't have immediate confirmation is they tend to do kind of an analysis. So Pat Schneider, thanks for the super chat. It says satview.org shows the location of entry was latitude -37, longitude 131. Is this closer to the ground track? And I don't know off the top of my head on that. I'll take a quick look though. Yeah, so those coordinates would be off the southern portion of Australia. So it is possible, you know, that is closer to the ground track. However, that's you know, more kind of southern, south of Australia, and we didn't have any reports of fireballs or anything from Australia. So even though that is along the ground track, that may be a kind of an estimated entry point. Kimberly Harvey, thank you very much for the $6.99. Says thanks for the updates and educational live stream watching from near Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Well, thank you very much. So just to kind of recap what happened, you know, we had the Chinese launch their first module of 3 large modules from the space for their new space station that was on a Chinese Long March 5B rocket. And that's a variant that does not have an upper stage, so it has only a core stage and 4 strap-on boosters. It is a liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen rocket with kerosene and liquid oxygen on the strap-on boosters. They launched this orbitally to space, but then the core stage did reach orbit, but was not able to do a burn, to do a controlled reentry for whatever reason, either intentionally or non-intentionally. We're not sure yet. As a result, this thing orbited the Earth for some period of time, and then now today underwent a reentry, likely into the Indian Ocean. So Shihan Chen, thank you for the $5 super chat. Can you explain why this rocket caught so much more attention than the uncontrolled reentry of the Falcon 9 not long ago, which did hit a farm? Yeah, it's a great question. You know, the Falcon 9 upper stage is much smaller than the core stage of this rocket. You know, this core stage of this rocket was almost 23 tons, and it was 100 feet long and about 16 feet in diameter, whereas the Falcon 9 upper stage is smaller. You know, so it just kind of caught, I think, more of the public imagination, you know, being that massive, and the knowledge that much larger pieces would likely make it to the ground or into the ocean. So I think it's just that it was a much larger kind of threat by the amount of mass is probably why it ended up catching a lot more media attention than the the second stage of the Falcon, which they do try to deorbit those second stages of the Falcon 9. However, there must have been some kind of a technical issue. Horseshoe 621, tell Heidi that Doug loves her, please. So Heidi, Doug loves you. 6 degrees forward. JBpost.com confirms 72.47 east, 2.65 north. So another possible data point. Jeff Roma, thank you for the $5 chat. Stephen Childress, thank you for the $20. Hey, thank you for the coverage and happy Mother's Day to Kitten from Daddy Duncan and Lulu. So you're very welcome for the coverage. This has been exciting and kind of fun to see where this thing would come down. It looks like most likely it came down in the ocean, which is what we had always hoped for. You know, it'd be nice if some video ends up popping up where it came down, but you know, sometimes this happens. It was out in the ocean. So. Yeah, and kind of further addressing, you know, what happened with Falcon 9 upper stage is they did have a number of COPVs, which are composite overwrap pressure vessels that did reenter. I believe it was in Washington State, on the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And you know, initially there were some pieces found, and then actually some meteorite hunters went out there and were able to find more pieces. And those pieces were then taken. Actually, a friend of mine named Robert Ward went and recovered many of those pieces. And the carbon fiber material itself is very abrasive, and you know, it can get in your hands and kind of poke you almost like a cactus. So I know that he took it back to Arizona, and then eventually SpaceX security ended up sending some people out to meet with him, and took those pieces off his hands just because of the possible hazardous nature of them being kind of those sharp shards of carbon fiber. But ultimately, nobody was hurt. There was no real damage done. So all's well that ends well. And there are some media stories about that whole recovery of those Falcon 9 pieces. And that happens from time to time, And what is nice, even with the Falcon 9, is recovering that first stage. And normally, we just throw the whole first stage into the ocean, which is arguably it's kind of like what you're throwing your trash in the ocean, right? So it is nice if you're able to reuse those rockets, both from a lowering the cost of launch access standpoint, but also just from a from an environmental standpoint, better off if you're not littering as much as possible. But at this point, it is good that this Chinese stage seems to have splashed down as best we can tell from the information available to us. I'm going to do a check here, see if there's been any further movement here. So no update yet from the 18 SPS. So no truly definitive update at this point. We do believe from multiple sources that it landed in the Indian Ocean, including the Chinese government. We do know from the eyewitness accounts that we saw it coming out of the Middle East with some plasma starting to appear on the back end of it, and then does not seem to have made it all the way to Australia. So the best indications are that it is down. So I'm just going to pause here for a moment, take a moment, get a drink. I've been streaming for several hours straight, but at this point, it seems to have splashed down in the Indian Ocean. Obviously, we'll wait for future official confirmation, and we'll post anything on screen if that comes up. But it's been great talking with everybody here and chatting with everybody about this excitement. But it does appear to have landed. So, all right. Well, I think actually at this point I'm going to sign off for the evening. Really appreciate it. My name is David Gonzalez. I've been covering launches and space-related events for over 10 years. Happy to share some of my knowledge about this situation with y'all. And until next time, we will post any updates on the stream. And if some news comes up, I might pop back on and give any future information. But at this point, it seems to have come down the Indian Ocean. So have a good night or good morning, depending on where in the world you are. Cheers.